I think first about sort of the location and how it relates to the sun. Also, like what is available at the location for filtering the light, or providing open shade. So just depending on the time of day, I'm not averse to doing sort of earlier in the day shoots, even though I love those golden hours. And I just need to know that I have something there that I can filter the light with if I need to.
Yeah, Amanda nailed it with finding the best light. And just like she said too, I don't mind shooting in the morning or in the evening. I prefer the morning, actually. I really like morning light, always looking for open shade. There's a really cool app that I found called Helios. You actually can put yourself in the position of where you're going to shoot, and you can see where the sun is going to track. I use that for just about everything. I always have the light to the back of my subjects. The reason I like that is you get this really great little separation light on the back of their shoulder and their hair. Sometimes it tends to give a little highlight pop and stuff like that. I have a reflector, either a small reflector for 1 to 3 people, or I have a big 5x7 that I flop out and clip to a stand, and that kind of pushes up lights for a lot of the groups. Especially if we like to get a little bit of that light underneath them to kind of get those shadows out.
I'd say a lot of the time I do position my subjects to have the sun behind them, but also we have a fair amount of times where it just it's overcast. Or it's foggy. And so in that case, it's so important when you're in a diffuse light situation to have your subjects facing the light instead of back to it, so that you can get all of those shadows out from around their eyes and funny places like that.
I do like to do same thing, backlit a lot, but I'd like to do sideways sometimes to get a little bit of flare. If we're shooting at sunset. Now, if the light is really harsh, I try to find open shade or filtering through the trees, because that gives us both crispy golden light as well as good definition on faces.
I love just really beautiful golden light, or just after the sun is just about to dip, and you have opposite of you that pastel sky, and you can have them facing the sun, and it's not too orangey anymore because it's basically gone. That's so beautiful.
To start maybe 2 hours before sunset, and that there is still some clouds, because I do love that yummy diffuse light. But I like the possibility of the golden hour at the end.
Sunlight behind them, little reflector, probably half hour before the sun goes down. My family portraits are basically 7200. I'll throw in a 50 millimeter for a group of 20 people, but I go back as far as I need to get the shot that I want.
I could do a wedding with the 50 if I had to, because it's the perfect range for me. It's always flattering for portraits, but I do shoot 35, 50, 85. That's what I always use.
I shoot in Kelvin. I highly recommend it for anyone that's not already shooting in Kelvin for their RAW, because you just get so much more range of adjustment. This type of session work I do, I'm not always in the same location. So sometimes I am having to adjust it a few times a session. If it's between getting the shot perfect in camera or not getting the moment of something cool that's happening, then I just roll with it and know that I can fix it later because it's RAW and it's in Kelvin.
I shoot the most as weddings, and it changes from inside to outside to tungsten sometimes. So I'm more focused on moments and more focused on composition, as well as not interrupting anyone. So I do auto white balance. If I were in a studio shooting a newborn or something like that, I think I would have a different approach.
I use preset white balances, so sunny, shade, stuff like that. And then I go in and tweak just my little adjustments once I get into Lightroom. So I feel like there's so many different ways of doing it. And if it works perfectly for you, that's what's so amazing about photography. It's light stand, reflector holder arm, Always bring a backup light. Always, always, always. I mean, we're natural light photographers, but if that overcast becomes just so flat that it's just kind of gross, pop a little flash in there, get a little bit of zest, a little bit of color vibrancy in there with that. And that really helps out and has saved the day multiple times for me, for sure.
Honestly, I bring almost nothing. I have a clear umbrella in my car in case it starts sprinkling. And, for like getting you through a part of a shoot if it doesn't pour. And I keep a reflector in my car, like a pretty good sized one. I have an extra camera body with me because you can't mess around with not having a spare camera. But otherwise, that's it.
For weddings, I could never leave without a flash. I feel like that would be a risk. So I always bring just one or two lights. I have a light stand and softbox in my car, one of those easy ones that you can just pop.